who is your ideal client? Who do I want to be working for every single day? It will make a massive difference to your life and your business when you identify what your ideal types of projects are. How you structure your team is really, really important. Identifying the type of work that suits you and your team best, again, is going to help your business thrive. I'm a massive fan of visualizing. Like, I write in my journal all the time. I can visualize it in my head. G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Level Up. We are back in the shed this afternoon for another episode by myself to give you guys some insights and information about things that have got me to where I am in my life. And look, this is going to be another cracking episode because today we're going to be talking about setting up your business structure and figuring out what it is you want to do. I see now from everything I do that so many people in the construction industry are just following the old-fashioned way that everything has been done, and they don't realize that it's their business. Like, you can set your business up and structure it however you want to. So we're going to cover quite a bit today. It shouldn't be a real long one, but I want to start right at the beginning, and that is the name of your business. And the reason I want to talk to you about this is because I, at a very, if you've heard my story, you know that I basically jumped in the deep end, went out, started subbing. And so I was in a position where basically I went from just invoicing the guy that I was working for. Like, I had one of those duplicate books that you buy in the bloody newsagent, and I would literally just write my hours on there, write down the tasks that I'd been doing, and give him a handwritten invoice, and it would just have my name on it. And when it got to the point that I had to, he asked me to start subbing to him, I had to change structure. So, I reached out to my bookkeeper at the time, and they're like, "Oh, you probably should do this." And I can't even remember how old I was. I think at this point I was only 21 or 22 or something, and no one had given me any real advice on this. And to be honest, I wasn't interested in any advice on this. I'd never even thought about the business side of my job. And I remember it clear as day. I literally got to a point where I rung, I think I actually rung my finance broker at the time, who I've had for a very long time. We've actually done a podcast with him. And his wife was an accountant, and she's like, "Oh yeah, no, well, you're going to have to set up a company." And I was like, "Well, I don't know." And she's like, "Well, what do you want to call it?" And I'm like, "Fuck, I wouldn't have a clue." And literally Pearce Constructions was spoken about within 10 minutes, and that is what we still call my business today. And look, if I had my time again, I would probably put a lot more thought and effort into the name. But I think your name is so valuable. But the one thing that I've learned is if you tie your personal name to things and you build successful businesses, it can be very hard to sell those businesses if everything is built around your name and your personality and you. So having a name that turns into that starts to add to value, and people know what that name reflects and means, gives you more options possibly in the future with your business. But look, there's definitely people that have sold businesses, and we've been approached for our business, even though it's my personal name. It doesn't stop you from doing it, but I just think your name is the first really important step. And so many people, including myself, don't take it seriously enough. And I sort of have a little giggle to myself now when I, you go to if you're out or you go to a pub or you're at a hardware, and concrete seem to have the best ones. There's all these names around that when you're young, you think are just awesome. I'm not going to mention some of the names because people might crack the shits, but fuck it, I probably should. But Get Hard Concreting, and I saw one when I was on that rally recently up at Airlie Beach. And look, no offense against concreters, but I just see so many trades that have these names. And like I said, when you're young and you're just getting in the business and you're out on the piss all the time with your mates, and it's funny and it sounds cool, but if you want to be in business for a long time, you've got to get more creative with your name, and your name has to be more about what you want to achieve with your business and your lifestyle, instead of just a name that is funny when you're on the piss with your mates and having a joke around. So, because your name will also have a lot to do with the type of clients that you attract, with the type of work that you attract, how you get paid, the amount you can charge. Like, all of those things can be affected by the name that you call your business. So, like I said, I've seen some funny ones around. So that would be my first thing, is to have a think about your name. Don't rush into it, and just take the time. Look, you may not. I think a lot of people put too much time into things. Don't waste time trying to come up with a name that you'll hang on to forever, because the reality is you can change your name if you want to. But knowing what I know now from having multiple businesses and being very successful, I think your name should reflect, for me, you need to think about, like, why do you do what you do? Like, what gets you out of bed every day? What drives you? Where's your passion come from? Why are you doing what you're doing? And if you can come up with a name that can reflect that, then it will be very powerful for you and your business. The next thing on from that is your structure. Like, are you a sole trader? Are you a trust? Are you a company? Like, there is so many different ways you can set yourself up. And obviously, depending on the way you set yourself up, depends on the amount of tax you pay. It can change insurance structures. It can change lots and lots of things. GST. There's so much around the structure, and that's probably one area where I went wrong in the early days. For a while there, I was actually trading as D. Pearce Building Trust, and as we grew, it created a few issues for me along the way, and we actually still have that name. And right now, as it sits, Camille and I have, I can't even tell you off the top of my head, I think it's like 12 or 13 different business structures across all the investments and businesses that we have. So just because I set that one up very, very early in my early 20s, and it got to a point where that trust wasn't working for my carpentry business, I didn't shut it down. We kept it, and it's ended up turning into quite a valuable asset because we've been able to use that in the future. But if I knew what I knew now, probably one of the biggest or most valuable pieces of advice that I can give to a younger person starting out in this industry, and I would suggest, I tell my apprentices to do this. When our apprentices are getting to a point where they're about to finish their time and they're going to be starting to be on salary or wages or possibly subcontracting, the advice that I give to them is go and spend the money and get advice from a good accountant. You don't want to be just paying an accountant that charges whatever it is, $330 or $660, and just does your tax once a year. Like, go and spend the money. And look, it could cost you a couple of grand, but spend the money, go and talk to someone and talk them through. Like, you want to go and work with someone that is interested in where you want to go, what do you want to be, what size business do you want to have, what's your goals, and across the board, do you want to have investment properties, do you want to invest in shares, how do you want to grow your business, what is your ideal position. You really want someone that's going to sit with you and go, right now, what's your 12-month goal, what's your 3-year goal, what's your 5-year goal, what's your 10-year goal. And look, we all know goals change constantly, and that is something that you should be reviewing all the time. But that's the type of people that you want to be dealing with. So the best advice I can give to a young person that is just coming out of their trade, or possibly young contractors, if you've just sort of gone with the flow, ticked and flicked some boxes, come up with a random name, and just gone with a structure because that's what your mate or your dad or another person in the industry told you, I would recommend going and spending the money, investing in yourself and getting good quality advice about your structure. And because, like I said, depending on whether you're a sole trader, a trust, a company, all those types of things, it affects how your business operates. It affects insurances and work covers and all those types of things that you have to pay. It affects the tax, it affects GST, all those types of things. So, and look, as usual with all my podcasts, like these are all these stories and all this information that I give is all from my personal experience. And it's definitely up to you to get your own financial and legal advice on all these types of things. So, all right, so that's we've talked about your company name, we've talked about the financial structure of your business. I guess to just wrap up on that, when it comes to the structure, like your financial, whether you set yourself up as a trust, a company, sole trader, and those types of things, the reason it's so important to get someone that wants to know your future goals is because if you set yourself up as one thing and then you have a goal to get to somewhere else, it could be investing in property or shares or whatever, the way that you structure yourself could affect your borrowing capacity. It could affect how your income gets structured. Like there's a lot more to this, and I didn't know any of this when I first started, and it took me a long time. Like I've been in this game now since I was 15, so whatever that is, 29 years now. So, and I've always had a passion for investing in property, a little bit in shares, all those types of things. And in the early days, the way that I structured myself did cause me to a little bit of trouble over the time. And there's been situations where I've had to spend money to get a property out of a structure and put it into a different structure because the different structure was going to get me to the next level and where I wanted to be. So, really, really, really important that you spend the money, you invest in a good quality accountant or financial advisor or both. Even if you're young and you haven't put a lot of thought into these things, try and put some thought into your goals and set your structures up as early as you can to help you achieve those goals. The next thing is, like, again, going back to, like, it's your business. So as your business grows, you can structure it however you like. And I have these conversations a lot with members in my Live Life Build business now, because to have a successful business, and look, these are my personal opinions, but I know my business have all been very successful because I'm the face of them. I'm the real deal. I've been through shit that other people shouldn't have to go through. And I've learned a lot of lessons, and I still run a very successful building business, and I'm in the trenches, and everything that I speak and that I talk about, people in our industry relate to. So it's really, really important that you learn to structure your business the way you want to. And so for me, why I think it's important for the business owner to be the face is I know that my clients get a huge amount of value and come to our company because my face is all over social media. I'm sitting here doing these podcasts, and they get so much value out of me doing the site meetings, me doing all the initial quoting and estimating and all the design meetings, me being the one that meets them to sign all the contracts, and me doing the handover. And look, obviously this, if you, like, I've got some mates that run really large, very successful volume building businesses. And look, it's impossible for them to have that sort of personal relationship with every single client when you're talking 150, 200, 300 homes a year. But like one of my mates in particular, Chris from CMA Homes, man, like he's going close to building 300 homes a year now, and he still makes it very, very personal. And I believe that's a big reason why his business is so successful. So there's a lot of stuff going on in our industry at the moment, and like a lot of younger generation coming in, and a lot of them are going down the path of like they all want to have these successful businesses and earn the money, but they want to sit back behind the scenes and they want to just live the high life and have people in their business doing a lot of these tasks like the handing over and the signing of contracts and helping out with selections and doing the site meetings and those types of things. And personally, I think your business won't be successful long term doing that, because that's what attracts people, like especially in the custom residential building market. Like, and it's the same. It's not just, this isn't just about builders, it's about trades as well. Like when if you have a plumbing or electrical business or a carpentry business, like every single level of my business is based on relationships. It's very few times is it to do with the price. The reps that I deal with for hardware stores and plumbing suppliers and landscaping yards, it is completely based on a personal relationship. My relationships with my trades, like I will not work with a trade if they're a dickhead. If I can't shake their hand, have a beer with them, and just sit down and have a chat. If I could, like, I guess to put it this way, like I couldn't work with anyone that I couldn't run into at a concert or an event or camping and sit down around a fire or at a bar and hold a conversation with. So for me, relationships across the board are super, super important. So, and the reason I'm talking about all this is when I talk about structuring your business, like we've talked about name, we've talked about all the legal, financial sort of structures. A lot of builders feel that to grow their business, they need to step back off the site, and tradies. And 9 times out of 10, that is our passion. The passion is being outdoors, being on the tools, physically doing the work, having the banter with the team, and cranking the tunes, having a sing along, and like, because it doesn't feel like work. Like it feels like you're on site with a bunch of mates and you're having fun. And they lose their passion when the business grows and they step back from the site and they get stuck in the weeds doing all the administration and phone calls and all the other shit that goes with running a business. And like, I use my business as a perfect example. Like, I have structured my business to operate around what I love doing, what I enjoy doing. And I firmly believe that it doesn't matter what business you have, whether it's trades, architectures, designers, like builders, like you name it, anybody in the construction industry, if you structure your business so that you're always doing the tasks that you love doing, your business will be successful. So you can structure your business however you like. If you like the administration side of things, then build your team to allow you to do that. If you like being on the tools, then build your team to allow you to do that. So to give you a couple of examples, like if you like doing, like in my business, I'll talk about that first, but I love the client. I love meeting the clients. I really love design. Like if I hadn't have been a builder, I probably would have been a designer or an architect. I wouldn't have been an architect because I wasn't smart enough at school, but would never have got into uni. But I probably would have got some sort of design job. And so now in my business, having the ability to do the pack process and go to all the design meetings, interact with the clients, interact with the designer and the architect, and understand like why things happen the way they happen, why things go where they go. I do the quoting and estimating. Like I like numbers. I like working things out. I like seeing things come together. So my business is completely structured around me doing all the preliminary process through the pack process, all the quoting and estimating, meeting new clients. And then once we start, the jobs get handed over to my team. My wife runs the office, does all the administration. We've got an incredible supervisor. He keeps the jobs running. We've got incredible teams with lead carpenters and site crews and apprentices. So they take over and things run like clockwork most of the time. But then I still do the weekly site meetings. So at our weekly site meetings, I'm still the one there liaising with the client, doing the meeting minutes. My supervisor or a lead carpenter, or sometimes both, is always at that meeting. Then we walk around as a team so everyone knows what's going on. But I know the data in my business. I know my numbers, I know my overheads, and I've structured my business and I price my jobs for me to allow me to have the staff to run my business like that. So then if you go the other way, if you're a builder that wants to be on the tools, there will be a period that as the business grows, you do need to step back a little bit to spend some time. You're possibly going to hire a VA, or you're going to hire some admin staff or a bookkeeper, and you will have to step back a little bit from site to spend time with them in the office to make sure things are getting quoted correctly, to make sure everyone knows the numbers, to make sure contracts are getting done correctly, all those types of things. And then once you're confident that that's all working, there's absolutely no reason that you can't go back and be on the site and smashing the workout with the boys and all the females on site these days, and getting shit done. And that might mean that one day a week you're not on site. You're doing, like, you structure that one day a week you do all your client meetings, you do all your design meetings, and you do all your reviews with your administration tasks. And then the other 4 days you go out to site and you do all the work on site. So don't believe that you have to structure your business the old-fashioned way, and as the business grows you need to get tied into admin roles or project management or being the face of the business, all those types of things. Like, you have the ability to structure your business however you want, and it all comes back to understanding your numbers and allowing the business to cover the cost of employing the people in the roles that you need to structure the business the way you want, for you to allow you to do the tasks that you enjoy doing the most. And like I said, that actually flows right through your business. Like, the key to a successful business is having every member of your business doing tasks that they are good at, that they enjoy doing, and they like turning up to work every day to do that. And if you can do that, including yourself, you will have a very successful business. So yeah, that's the third one. Structure your business, write it on paper, visualize it. I'm a massive fan of visualizing. Like, I write in my journal all the time. I can visualize it in my head, what I'm doing, what my goals are, what it's going to look like when I achieve them. So write it down, your ideal structure for your team, what you want to achieve, and yeah, it will happen. So we touched on a little bit then, but the next one is team. So like I just touched on a little bit, like, I hear so many builders and myself for a very long time in my business, the team, and look, to be honest, even today, like, team is the hardest thing. I don't care what anyone says. Anyone that hasn't run a building business or a trades-based business, I don't care if you're an admin type business, you're an office type business that's got hundreds of staff. I don't believe that there is any business that is as hard as managing teams in a building business or a contracting business or a trades-based business, because I talk about this all the time. There's so many different personalities, your religions, values, opinions, all these types of things. And it's not like you're sitting in cubicles or you can walk away from people. Like, you're physically working together. You're leaning over each other. You're sweating on each other. Your work and your outcome is dependent on the people you're working with. If they're not cutting shit and getting it back to you in time, then it makes you look bad. If you're a plumber and there's multiple plumbers laying a drain, like, and you're in the trench laying the drain, and the person that's cutting the pipes and giving you the glue isn't keeping up with you, like, it's hard. Like, and if you haven't worked in our industry, you honestly, you'll never understand it. But yeah, you can structure your team. Like, how you structure your team is really, really important. And like, something that's really accelerated my business is, like, not just hiring what I thought I needed. So, like, you have a plumbing business, you're going to put ads out there and you're going to advertise that you need a plumber. If you're electrical business, you're going to advertise that you want electricians. And look, I do it all the time. If, like, we're a building business, we advertise for carpenters. You need to find people that are good at specific things, because there's always going to be people that just love their trade and they love showing up every day and just doing their trade. Then there's going to be people that are really, really good at their trade, but they want the next level. They want a little bit more authority. They want to run things. They want to be a supervisor or a leading hand, or they crave that little bit higher, I guess, position in the business. And then it just keeps growing up there. Then you're going to get people that want to run the business. You're going to get people that want to manage the business. Like, there's all different levels. And one thing that I've learnt is that we are all so different. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. We all have different things that set us off, whether it's anxiety, whether it's worrying about things. Like, so building your team and allowing your team to thrive in environments that allow them to be comfortable is really, really important. And over the past few months, I've spoken about this on a few podcasts, but like our building business is absolutely booming at the moment. We got enormous amounts of work on, incredible clients, great jobs. And so we've really been pushing hard to build our team again. And like at the moment, I think we're sitting around 14 odd people. And so there was a period there where I think we bought 4 or 5 new carpenters, apprentices, and lead carpenters in like within a couple of weeks. And one thing that I've always been very proud of with my building business, especially over like there was this 2 or 3 year period that we've just come out of through COVID, where we got an incredible amount of work done with a very small, efficient team, and everything was just running like clockwork. And then all of a sudden we're ramping things up, we're growing, we're bringing all these new staff in, and it was just like the wheels fell off. And there was a 2 or 3 months period there where like I would just leave site so pissed off. I'd be so frustrated. I'd come back to the office, I'd talk to the supervisor, I'd be whinging about everybody, and I'd be like, what the fuck are they doing? Like honestly, like they've done, like there's 7 people on site and they've done less work than like I could do with an apprentice. Like what is happening? And it was because everyone was trying to like fight for authority, and they were all trying to find like the new guys that come in without physically fighting or doing anything, but they were all battling for authority and trying to find their positions in the team. And this ties in so much with what I believe in now. Like one of my biggest beliefs now is we have to understand that we are nature. We are no different to animals. Like we have tribes. We thrive with different groups. Like it's no different to groups of animals and those types of things. And I saw it in my team, how they were operating with each other. And it wasn't until I had a chat with Helen Rogerson. So Helen Rogerson is our leadership expert in my Live Life Build business. She's also been on this podcast. She's an incredible human being, a really great friend. And I just value her professionalism, her experience, her knowledge so much. So through this period, I was doing a lot with Helen. We got her in to do a couple of workshops with our team. I was personally talking to her a lot, getting a lot of advice, and it's incredible how when she got me to sort of stand back and see what was going on and realise that they're all sort of fighting for their positions in the team, and go to site and have one-on-one meetings and figure out where each person sort of wanted to be, and then sort of split them up into different groups and give them different roles. And honestly, within a 4-week period, it was chalk and cheese. Like they went from 6, 7, 8 guys on a job doing very little work to having 3 and 4 guys on each job and just absolutely killing it and turning up to site. The sites are all immaculate. The lead carpenter knows what's going on. Like it's chalk and cheese. So yeah, structuring your team is huge. Figuring out your team's strengths and weaknesses. And like I said, if everyone in your team is able to do or work towards doing what they are passionate about, what they get out of bed every day to do, your business will be very successful. All right, but moving on a little bit. I thought this was going to be a short podcast, but that's all right. We're getting some good information out here. So the next one is structuring your business around the types of clients that you want. So I see so many trades, builders, and actually like even architects and building designers, like so many people just taking on work because they're just they're chasing. They got no cash flow. They don't understand the running of the business, and they take on every single job that comes across their desk, whether they're a shit client, a good client, a client that's got the money, a client that hasn't got the money. And at the end of the day, they're creating all their own problems. They're dealing with people that they really shouldn't be dealing with, and then they whinge about the outcomes. So a really, really important thing to understand is, again, like we said at the beginning, it's your business. So the saying I say all the time, like, your business is only as good as what you accept. Your life is only as good as what you accept. Ties in perfectly with this one, because if you just accept any client that comes your way, if you're running a business that is struggling with cash flow, you struggle to pay bills, you spend more, like you live beyond your means, you spend more money than you're physically making because you don't understand your numbers, you don't understand how tax works, you don't understand how GST works, all of those things, that gets you in a position where you're taking on clients that you shouldn't be taking on. And learning this has been incredibly valuable for my business. And again, I talk about woo-woo shit all the time, but it works. Like, for every client that you knock back, it empowers you, and it says something to the universe that opens doors and allows the next client to be a dream client. And so I encourage every single business in the building industry to find your ideal client. Like, sit down, do some journaling, scribble some notes down, and think to yourself, like, who is your ideal client? Who do I want to be working for every single day? And it can be anything. Like, you can be working with, like, if you really refined it, you could build your business to, this is going to be a bit of an out there exaggeration, but this is how refined you could get it. Like, you could be running a business that only works for professionals, whether it be doctors, lawyers, and architects. Like, if you get that nitty gritty on it and you market yourself and you talk about it all the time, and you will attract those types of clients and that type of work, because that's how it works. And like, I know this because we've done it so many different ways in our building business, and we know it works so well because we just keep improving on it now, and to a point where, like, we're attracting clients that are exactly like us. They love camping, they love family time, they love going to the beach, they love chilling out, they love having a few beers, they like the environment. So our clients are becoming really good friends. Like, we can actually go out to dinner, we can go on, like, I've talked about this a few times, like, and people don't believe me, like, we've been on overseas holidays with multiple clients, we've been on camping trips with multiple clients. We've got clients that have become really, really close friends that we catch up with regularly. Like, and that is because I've figured out the type of people that I want my businesses dealing with. And that is, it's so important. So yeah, the next part of structuring your business is identifying the perfect client that you want to be working with. And like I said before, it's not woo-woo. Like, for every client that you dismiss, like, I guess to touch on this a little bit, like, it's okay for you to say no to a client. Like, I think this is a really, really powerful message. And I know from all our Live Life Build members, when they do this for the first time, like, they get on our Friday wins in our Facebook group, and they talk about it, and they feel energized and empowered. Businesses in the construction industry, just because a client has been referred to you, has reached out to you, has followed you on Instagram, has sent you messages, does not mean that you have to take them on as a client. And look, it's a whole other podcast, but figure out your ideal client. The best way to manage that is to set up an inquiry form that has questions that are focused on finding your ideal client, and knock back the clients that don't fill out your inquiry form, that don't answer all your questions, that don't sit well with you. If you go to a meeting and your guts is telling you this isn't an ideal client, if they're asking questions that are annoying you and pissing you off, they're not your ideal client. If you're doing jobs for clients that are questioning what you charge, they're not your ideal client. If you're taking on work for clients and they're questioning your payment terms, they're not your ideal client. If you're taking on jobs or you're doing jobs and the client's arguing with you about the amount that or how quickly you've done the job, and it shouldn't be, like, they shouldn't be paying you that much, and all those types of things, they are not your ideal clients. So you need to reflect back on every single one of those situations and figure out, like, where did that go wrong? Why did I take that client on? And 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you that you'll be able to reflect on that, and you'll be able to go back to a situation where your gut said to you that they were going to be a bad client, and you might have even had conversations with someone about it, but you took them on because of the financial situation you're in and needing the cash flow. And so, again, like my Grant Cardone's my favourite saying, nothing happens to you, every single thing happens because of you. So to move on, the next part of structuring your business. So we've talked about name, we've talked about the financial setup, we've talked about ideal team, we've talked about your ideal role, we've now talked about your ideal clients. The next one is the ideal job. So just like the ideal client, you don't have to accept every single job. This is another really, really powerful thing to knuckle down on and figure out. Whether you're any type of tradie, whether you're a designer, whether you're an architect, an engineer, town planner, builder, like whatever you are, you need to figure out the types of jobs that you want to be involved with. And again, get right down into the nitty gritty of it. Like, do you want to only do healthier homes? Do you only want to do energy efficient homes? Do you only want to do sustainably built homes? Do you only want to do a certain size home? Do you only want to do architectural homes? Like do you want to be prefab? Like there is like dozens and dozens and dozens of types of jobs out there. If you're a tradie, like you're a plumber, do you want to work for builders, doing the underslab, the rough ends, the fit offs and everything that goes with building work? Or do you just want to do maintenance? Or do you only want to work for mum and dads? Like, do you not want to work for any builders? So you only want to do like maintenance and random plumbing work for existing structures and those types of things. If you're an electrician, again, do you want to do work for builders, or do you want to do work for just mum and dads or companies doing maintenance or refits and those types of things? So you can, like, when you knuckle down on this and you figure out your ideal work or job, and a lot of this will come, like if you work on all these things we've talked about today, it all comes together, because when you're trying to find your ideal projects or the work you want to do, it's quite involved, because you need to figure out the type of work that your team are at, and that could change over time as your team grows. And maybe right at the moment, if you're an electrician, your team is only suited to smashing out rough ends and fit offs and working on new builds. But as your team grows, you might get some guys that are a lot better at dealing with clients, doing work on their own. And so maybe over time, your ideal work you might expand, and you might actually be able to do some maintenance work or expand into solar installs or something like that. So your ideal work is, like we've talked about with everything today, it will change as your business grows and goes to the next level. And it will change based on the team members that you bring into your business. So yeah, figuring out the ideal work and the type of job you want to do. Like I know builders that will only work on old, like here in Brisbane, like they will only work on old Queenslanders. Like their work is lift and build, renovation, refurbs on Queenslanders. That's their niche, and they are flat out all the time because they're specialists at it. I know other builders that just will not go near a renovation. Like their specialty is new homes on flat blocks of land in new housing estates. I know other builders that only do work on more difficult sites. Like their specialty is works with bulk earthworks and off-form concrete and all those types of things. So it's huge. It will make a massive difference to your life and your business when you identify what your ideal types of projects are or the type of work. And like I said, it works for any trade. It works for, like, it can work for a tree lopper. Like you might be, like we have really good friends that have a tree lopping business, and like it's called all tree and palm removal. So like they're specialist in coming in and like clearing sites and removing all the trees and doing stump grinding. Like they don't do trimming hedges and all little work. So they've identified the type of work that their business thrives on. So it doesn't matter what type of trade or what type of designer or architect or builder you are, identifying the type of work that suits you and your team best, again, is going to help your business thrive. So the last one I want to talk about with structuring your business, because I believe if you do all the things that we're talking about today, you will see massive differences in your business, in your cash flow, in your profitability, and all those types of things. But the last one, which I think is very important, is structuring your cash flow. And again, I bang on about all the time knowing your numbers, but we have Katie from Profit First Australia. She's our Profit First. She's our accounting expert in my Live Like Build business. She's our mentor. Then there's obviously Sean Van Dyke, Profit First for contractors in the States. But the reason I mention them is I believe the Profit First structure is the best way to start understanding how the cash that your business needs. So look, I'm not going to bang on about this one for a long time, because you can go and read, like Katie's got a book, Profit First, go and listen to that book. Sean Van Dyke's got the Profit First book as well. Once you get your head around Profit First and structuring your bank accounts, it's an absolute game changer. And look, you're going to get kickback from your accountants or your bookkeepers, because they're going to have to reconcile multiple accounts, and it's like I find it funny all the time. Like the better you want to become and the better you want to do, the more people you've got to argue with and butt heads with, because everyone wants to just fucking go along the same straight road. They don't want any winds and bends, and they just want to fucking do what they've always done, they've always been told, and they've always been taught. And so, yeah, you'll get kickback from people that will whinge about having to reconcile too many bank accounts, or whinge about having to transfer money around to too many bank accounts, all those types of things. But if you want to get ahead, you've got to push back on those people that push back on you. And so Profit First, having those bank accounts too, when the money comes in, putting the money aside shows you so quickly and easily what's left, and it really helps you identify that you need to charge more. And so setting up your bank accounts for your GST, for your tax, for your salaries, for your suppliers, for your outgoing, like all those things, and your profit. It is so simple, and you see it so quickly and easily why you don't have good cash flow and why you're not making money. So that's my last tip. Check out Profit First. Katie's is Profit First for tradies. Sean Van Dyke's is Profit First for contractors. Highly recommend you listen to those guys and take their advice on board. And look, reach out to Katie from Profit First. She does a really good job here in Australia. But yeah, look, just to recap on them, Shay will have to pull me up if I forget any of these, but it was spending some time to figure out the name of your business. Don't be afraid to change it. If you've been operating for 10 years, it is what it is. If you've got to change it, you've got to change it. Your financial structure, massive one, whether you're just starting out or whether you've been in business for 10, 20 years, massively important that you go and spend the money with someone that's going to get you to the next level and set your structures up correctly. And I cannot recommend highly enough, you need to go to someone that wants to know your goals. Where do you want to go? What do you want to invest in? What do you want to do? What sort of money do you want, forecasting you want to make? Because that makes a big difference to how you set your structures up. The next one was structuring your role, like identifying what you do best in your business and structuring your business the way you want to structure it. Next one was team, identifying your team structure and employing the people that are going to get your business where it needs to go. Next one was clients. Identifying your perfect client will absolutely change the way your business operates. Next one was types of projects. Again, spend the time and identify this. It will change your cash flow. It will change your profitability. It will change your team, your life, everything. And the last one is the Profit First. But I highly recommend you sit down with a journal and you do these one at a time, and you just go nuts and you write down as much shit as you can, and you get as clear as you can on all of those things. and you will have an incredible life, an incredible business. So look, guys, as usual, I hope you've loved this podcast. Reach out if you've got questions, keep them coming. Please like, subscribe. Make sure you go and check out the new website. Seriously, our merch is absolutely fantastic. And look, if we want to keep changing this industry, we've all got to be walking around with the keep smashing it on the backs of our backs, because that's going to show people that we are on a mission to create a new building industry. As always, thanks very much for listening and watching. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers, guys.
Are you ready to build smarter, live better, and enjoy life? Then head over to livelifebuild.com/elevate to get started.
Everything discussed during the Level Up podcast with me, Duayne Pearce, is based solely on my own personal experiences and those experiences of my guests. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. We recommend that you obtain your own professional advice in respect to the topics discussed during this podcast.